Hello, welcome to a new episode of our podcast, Das Seriensprechzimmer, meaning the TV show talking room. We're talking to the great Kristin Chenoweth today, who's starring in the new musical show Schmigadoon that is airing on Apple TV Plus right now. This is Melanie from Serieasten.TV. Hello, Kristin. Calling from Germany, Berlin.
I love Berlin so much. I did Das Phantom.Opera there. I loved it.
Oh, it's so good. Kristin, I have to be honest, I'm not really good with musicals. So when I had to watch Schmigadoon, I was like, oh, do I really have to? And then you guys got me in the end. And I was wondering, why do you think that Schmigadoons even works for people like me?
Well, first of all, I appreciate your admission. Thank you for saying that. I have a brother who is very much like, don't you be asking me to come see Traviata again. I don't want to see Wicked. Please, I can't. One of the things that I think, and this is why Keegan's character is so important, because he hates musicals too. I think the reason Schmigadoon is hitting tone with people who don't necessarily love song and dance is because look at where we are in our world, Melanie. We have been in a global crisis. We still are. I think people want to laugh at the silliness and the ridiculousness, and I think they need to be filled with joy. And whether you like musicals or not, Schmigadoon is funny. It is funny. So we make fun of ourselves. We actually make fun of ourselves with love. And that is why I think it's striking a chord with folk like you, Melanie, honestly. And, it does oftentimes when we are made fun of because we break into song and dance, it is because it is done poorly. We have not executed it right. But if you execute it right, then it deserves it because it's so difficult to do. So I understand what you're saying. I'm related to a lot of people just like you.
I actually was wondering if maybe it's a perfect show for the time that we have right now, because it's fun and light, and it's really, I binged it and I was like even crying in the end. So I really enjoyed it, and I surprised myself. So I really like that. But
this is the best. This is the best thing you could tell me, seriously, because that's what we wanted. We wanted people to go on the journey, and we sing about corn pudding. Let's be honest. I have a 18-page song without one cut, and I just was like, this is a challenge. I'm going to do it. Tribulation. I'm going to do it. We were in our own little bubble, and it was like water in a desert. We were so happy.
In a tweet, Schmigadoon writer Cinco Paul has written, Kristin plays the villain to perfection, and actually she is the sweetest person. Tell us about your role, and maybe what was the greatest challenge in playing the villain.
Thank you, Melanie, for relaying that to me. I knew I wanted the Joker lips because the Joker's maniacal. I knew I wanted that strict, very stern hair. I wanted her not to have a hair out of place. I actually have the corset. I wore a corset, and I don't know if you've ever worn one, but I'm not a fan. I made the corset be very tight, too tight, so I would feel uncomfortable. When Barry, actually what hooked me, besides me laughing my butt off from the script, was I still want to challenge myself as an artist. And when you've got an 18-page patter song and the director says we're going to do it in one take, no cuts. First of all, my hair extensions fell out. I was like, oh my gosh, no. And then I went, this is a challenge, and this is what you do, and you're going to do it. The challenging part about that was very little rehearsal, because we were in the height of the pandemic. Remember, this is pre-vaccination, and we had COVID testing every other day. I'm so thankful that the money was spent there. We stayed in our own little pods. But for me to play a character, I've played the villain before, but I look like this. I've never gotten to play a character, and Barry, to his credit, let me, as we say in the South, go to town. I went for it. I just went for playing the dark cloud. Every time I even had a smirk or a smile that would slip in, he would say, "No, Kristin, no." Because you hear every time she appears, she's just, she's Mothers Against the Future. I mean, it just cracks me up. And there are people like this in our world that we know. And I'm hoping that when they watch the show, or anybody watches any parts of the show, that they can go, is that maybe a little bit of me? A little bit. That's why I love theater so much. And that's why I love the art of making things on television. More people can see them. I did not grow up in a town with music theater. I grew up we did not have a lot. I never went to New York until I moved there. So the fact that I got to be a part of a show with a lot of the people that I love and admire, and that have been close friends of mine for a long time, really made the whole process worth it.
You're friends with Alan Cumming, so how was it to work with him? I mean, he's hilarious.
Well, first of all, okay, a little known fact for you, Melanie. We lived next door to each other in the hotel, and we did a 14-day quarantine. And let me just say this, that Kristin Chenoweth and 14-day quarantines don't really go together very well. I would wake up, I'm a night owl, but so was he. I would wake up and you saw the numbers, so it was all words, and then opera, then it was so I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd go in the bathroom because of the acoustics are so good there. And I'd be like, "We've got tribulation, my good sir. We've got tribulation and Schmigadoon. Look down there. Do you see what I see?" And I would do the number. And all of a sudden I'd hear pounding. And it's Alan like, "Shut up." That's how close we are. We are brother and sister. This is our, I don't know, third or fourth project together. He and I, when I got out of quarantine, he beat me by 3 days. He was there to take me to lunch. And, it's like working with my brother.
Aw, that's so nice. About the message of the series. So this is what I took. So do you think that real love takes a lot of work?
That what takes a lot of work?
Real love?
Oh, okay. I used to never understand, Melanie. I asked my mom and dad, I'm glad you asked this question. I asked my mom and dad what the key was to a long marriage, because they've been together this whole time and they're still together. And they said negotiation. And I said, "Well, that sounds like a lot of work to me." And they go, "It is a little work because it's about negotiation and it's about the give take." And I've taken that in my own love life. And sometimes I've been successful and sometimes I haven't. But you do have to water the plant. And sometimes you're the waterer and sometimes you're the plant. And it has to be able to switch off.
Yeah. So, Kristin, you're known for a couple of roles, but I guess, I don't know, like if I think about you, I always think about Olive Snook from Pushing Daisies. Of course, she's lovely. Would you hope that this role in Schmigadoon is a role that people will come up to you and associate you with it, or is it always Olive Snook?
I hope nobody throws a pie in my face. If they come up to me about Mildred, I call all of the roles I've played my children, and I love some children more than others. Mildred, I had to find a way to love her so I could play her, right? But Olive is the audience. Olive was the audience. She represented the audience. I loved her so much because she just couldn't, she's the unrequited love. She couldn't figure it out. I mean, I worked with more. I said to Brian Fuller, "Why must I keep working with horses, dogs, pigs? I worked with rats. I had a whole thing with bees." I was so lucky to get that role. I don't even know how it happened. And sometimes when we're talking about love and we're talking about parts and we're talking about life, sometimes the best things in life are the ones that are the biggest surprises. And Olive snuck was a big, big surprise in my life. And there isn't a day that goes by, because I'm not a cook either. I said, can Olive not be a very good waitress? And can she not cook? And they were like, actually, yes. And can she cut her hair? Because I love to find different ways of other than look. I look like this for you today because this is me. But I always look for ways to be, or I want to throw myself into different parts. And I love her. I miss her. And if there was any show that I've ever done that I would love to see actually go to Broadway from television, which is a reverse, it would be Pushing Daisies.
Me too. Thank you so much for your time, Kristin. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Take care. Stay safe.